Hello and welcome to Brodual. This time we have expanded towns and cities. This is a classic example of a mod that started off small, but after almost 3 years of hard work and determination, has become one of the best mods for Skyrim. Recently the mod also combines certain features from the Immersive Settlements mod, so its changes are even more expansive. Put simply, the mod aims to improve on the smaller settlements around Skyrim. So the 5 major cities are left untouched, which makes sense given the huge amount of city mods that already focus on those alone. The changes to the towns are also designed to give each one its own identity, whether it's through smaller aesthetic features or more noticeable texture overhauls. On top of that, they also add a bit more life to the world with the introduction of dozens of NPCs spread over the 16 towns the mod expands on. In the video you'll be able to see every single town the mod changes, so you should get a good feel for the mod. It's also important to keep in mind that certain smaller features are optional, and there's also a modular version too, so you have complete control over which of the towns are affected. We also find the changes generally scale well across the towns, and by that we mean the amount of changes in each individual town depends on the size of it in vanilla. So it's not like it all of a sudden makes smaller settlements much bigger or more detailed than it should be. The most changes are probably applied to Morthal and Falkreath, with each city coming with several new buildings, NPCs, some new interiors and optional building styles. What's great is that a lot of the new buildings have an actual purpose, instead of just being empty homes. For example, there's a new museum in Falkreath and several of the bigger settlements now come with a general store. The same goes for the NPCs too. They aren't just mindless people walking around, but they'll actually have a job and a fixed schedule. Some are especially useful in the form of fletchers, blacksmiths or alchemists. On top of the buildings there's also new structures. This can be anything from smaller archways, to bridges, to the entirely new walls that surround Dawnstar and Morthal. One of the things we like the most is that these new structures are all handmade for each specific location. So unlike in vanilla, where areas like Riverwood and Falkreath share many of the same assets, these new structures really help each area feel unique. And then when you combine that with all of the other changes, it becomes almost impossible to even note the similarities. The town inns are also another place in vanilla where they're either extremely similar or in some cases exact copies of each other. So to fix that, the mod changes the interiors of every single inn to offer even more variety. Several other interiors have also been changed where they deserved more of a unique layout, like the Jarl's house or the interiors of shops. Another thing we like about the mod is that it's not just about adding new objects, but also changing existing ones. This varies from minor touches to objects or buildings, to completely expanding on the original design. For example, Riverwood comes with a very different shape and size compared to vanilla. We also found that changes across the board were more about adding substance rather than clutter. So it's not like your typical city overhaul where there's just hundreds of new plants or random objects. That also means there isn't really a noticeable performance drop with the mod installed, at least when compared to your average city overhaul. As I mentioned earlier, the mod incorporated several parts of the Immersive Settlements mod too. This includes an exterior Whiterun market area, more detailed orc strongholds, and changes to a few smaller settlements. These are all entirely optional and can be selected during the installation phase. Overall, we've wanted to cover ETAC for a while, and given that it reached number 1 for the Nexus Top Mods of the Month, we thought now is a great time. We've watched this mod grow from almost the very beginning, so it's amazing to see it reach what it is today. In terms of compatibility, you pretty much only have to avoid mods that would obviously cause an issue, like ones that directly change the same settlements. However, there's a few minor conflicts with some mods, so for exact details be sure to check the mod page. We also recommend using this alongside something like the JK City Overhaul, but only use it to change the 5 main cities of Skyrim. You might also want to throw in a population mod too, just because the main cities can look a little bland and unpopulated in comparison. The best way to check out every little nook and cranny is to walk through the new settlements for yourselves. If you want a great mod for a refreshing new playthrough, then we can't recommend the mod enough. So if you're interested, you can find everything you need down below. And as always, be sure to leave an endorsement on any mod you enjoy, and thanks for watching.